stop. Don't spend another dime on these portable fuel pods for your backpacking stove until you know about this little device right here that has the potential to save us a ton of cash over the long haul and the landfill from all of our half-used fuel pods. Because I don't know about you, every single spring when I'm going through my gear, getting ready for all my backpacking trips and camping trips, trips with the family and long haul, I always end up finding 2, 3, maybe even half a dozen of these fuel pods that have been half used. So they still have some life in them, but they're just kind of floating around, and the next trip I'm planning, I'm gonna need a full fuel pod. So what ends up happening? I throw them in a tote and they just collect dust. Or I have to commit to carrying 2, 3, 4 of them, just taking up space, taking up weight, and just not very cost effective to be doing that with these pods. So what could we do? I mean, I've always for years been like, man, I wish there was a way that you could like transition half of spent fuel pod into another half spent fuel pod, add them up, and then you got one good fuel pod again. Well, that is what this little device, which is a gas adapter refill valve, claims to do. So I was like, I'm seeing these popping up everywhere. I just pulled one off Amazon, spent $10 on it. I'll have a link popping up for several of them throughout the video, depending on how this performs and my take, both good and bad, and what I'm seeing value in, maybe value not, in the performance of these. You can go check out my Amazon store anytime for that. But for $10, I was like, I mean, if it can do what it claims, I mean, that would be phenomenal. And like, just get more out of these half-spent pods. So how do you start the process? First thing you got to do is you got to make sure you have a little weight scale that can, weigh grams, and that's probably the best way, but you could do ounces as well. You're going to need that. You're going to need the little adapter, and you're going to need to take one of these fuel pods, throw it in the freezer for 30 minutes. Whichever one is more empty that you're going to be filling up, the one that you're going to be filling up needs to go in the freezer. After 30 minutes, pull it out. And then on mine, and most of them have this, it just has very simple directions, right? It has in and out. So you just put the one that has the in, making sure it's there. And it's going to attach to all those generic pods, whatever you would normally do. Boom. You tie it down like that. And then mine has a pressure release valve. Not all of them have that, but apparently as these sit, the air goes to the top. I didn't even know that, but that's what the directions at least said. And so it's good to kind of pressurize that off a little bit before using it, but it must not be like necessary because some of them do not come with that. So I don't know. And then all you have to do is take your fuller, or the one that you're going to be transferring into, and then you just screw it onto the top right there, like so. And as I did that, pretty straightforward. And then you have your valve just like your favorite, BRS or MSR Pocket Rocket or whatever stove. You just turn it on, and you can literally hear the gas transition from one to the other. It's not that big a deal. It absolutely did it. It transitioned over. And once I put it back on the scale, I saw that it definitely received some gas. Now, here are a few data points after having done it a few times. One, most of these claim that you should not exceed 80% of the net weight of the fuel pod. So you can basically fill it back up to about 80% capacity. That's why you're gonna need one of those little scales. So you know what the original net weight is, and then you do the little transition. And you just gotta do some basic math and figure that out, and then test it out. I did about a 10 count, and that equaled out for me to be about 1 to 2 ounces, kind of depends. So that, just opening the valve, count to 10, turn it off, weigh it, see how it is. If I need to do the process 1 or 2 more times, I did just that. But it is absolutely doing exactly what it claims that it can do. With that said, you're gonna lose some gas or the fuel out of the container as you are attaching both of these. And that's where the second part comes in that you need to kind of think about, because I've seen some reviews on these that people were saying, like, basically get a big giant large one of these, they make even bigger ones than this, attach it to your little one that you're going to take on your backpacking trip, and kind of use it as like a fuel transition. Like, this is the gas station, the little ones are like your car, fill it up and keep filling it up, and that will save you some money, because obviously the cost per ounce or per milliliter, however they're measuring it, or gram, excuse me, that is cheaper when you buy the bigger containers. I don't know if that's really the best way to use this because you are going to be losing some of the pressure, some of the gas. So it might, I feel like it's going to mainly be a wash. And so the way that I am personally using this little device is just to, when one is half full and I've got two that aren't, full again, just boom, swap them over. And now I have a full, or at least 80% full canister. That makes it a lot more usable for longer trips. So that's me and my mileage. Leave a comment below how you guys use these, but I wouldn't really use it like a gas station and try to like save. I just don't see the value currently in trying to do that by buying giant canisters and filling up little canisters. I don't know. That's me and my mileage. Now, they claim that you can transition the fuels into all kinds of different containers for different mixtures of fuels. Read the directions, make your own decision. For me personally, I'm doing, like if it's an MSR, I'm just going to do it into an MSR. If it's a GSI, I'm going to do it in another GSI. I'm going to keep those canister fuels like the same, so I'm not mixing a bunch. I mean, like in theory, we're playing around with like pressurized grenades, in the backcountry grenades. So you got to be careful. Just be smart. You are handling basically pressurized metal containers, so that have the potential to have something go sideways. So read all the directions. Know what you're doing, but. These little devices, if you've been thinking about it, or if you just weren't even aware, it's working for me, and I'm pretty stoked about what the capabilities are. So again, there's lots of options out there. I'll link a few that I've seen that have really good reviews on Amazon, and I just snagged one of those at random and have been pleased with the results. And for 10, 15 bucks, it's going to do a lot for you. There are some that are like $30. I don't really know why you need to go spend that much, but I mean, it's up to you. But guys, little device, just wanted to share with you that potentially will keep down the amount of half-used pods in the landfill and help you to get a little bit more out of those canisters. Thanks so much for hanging with me today. I hope it's been fun and entertaining. I do invite you guys to like, subscribe, make sure to hit the bell icon so you can be notified every week. I put up videos just like this. And leave other comments for other gear that you want to see tested here, especially in the backpacking and camping arena as we get close to that season. Appreciate you guys. Hope you are well. Check out the other video. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.